the last show we performed in what's the poetry place? It's slipping my mind. It was
It
a
was,
poetry
yeah, I know it was,
cafe, New
yeah,
Eureka poetry.
yeah, and it's on like the upper, not upper, it's on like the Lower East Side. So it was a place where it literally, okay, a quick funny story. One of the performances I actually went to, I think it was like the second to last performance, and here's me, going to the Lower East Side. The Lower East Side, it's not hard to get to. It's like you just go to a certain point, and but when there isn't a train station by this place, and you're walking in a place that's like late at night, and it's cold as anything, because this was like in the like I
Oh, we
won't
did
say,
that in fall to December. It's something
yeah,
like
it was like the fall December like weather where it's like like fall is ending and December is starting, and it's like and this is like not one of those like, oh, it's just a chilly night. Look, when you're in New York City, especially in a December night, it's going to be chilly as anything, even if it is going to be a December night, especially an early December night, because it's all much more cold. I don't know why, compared to, say, Brooklyn or Queens or Bronx or something like that, or even Staten Island. It's
yeah,
much
New
more colder.
York winter though. That's gonna be
Yeah,
coldest. Yeah.
yeah. And so it literally took me at least maybe 10 to, like, say, I want to say, no, yeah, it took me at least 30 minutes just to get through this place. And apparently the path I took was like, I went through it, I went all around it in a roundabout way. So yeah, it's weird to actually get to this place. And by the time I got to this place and actually get to your performance, I'm like 30 minutes late. It was like, and everybody was like, oh, no, don't worry, you didn't miss anything. But it's,
Oh, you
and
missed
this,
the beginning of the play?
yeah, I missed the beginning of the play.
Oh, I'm so sorry. And you were free. Were you underdressed, or was it just that brutally cold?
It was that brutally cold. I was trying to get to that place and here's the thing. A lot of these places that we perform at, especially either in theater as an actor or an actress or as a singer, even though I'm not a singer, I'm just using this as as an example. Any venue that we perform can be easy to get to, but, and here's the but, some venues could be way, way, way out of your comfort zone. And trying to find that, especially in a metropolis like New York City, can be very mind-boggling. Because I would go and actually apply to auditions, and some of these auditions would be like, oh yeah, they'll be on the Upper West Side, and like, okay, is the Upper West Side? Okay, that's doable. That's
Yeah.
doable. But like Upper East Side, okay, that's doable. The farthest I've actually been to in terms of New York City was to do the music video Social Suicide. That was the farthest I've been to because I'd never actually been past the Bronx. The only time I've been past the Bronx was only to go see a Yankees game. Go Yankees. And not saying I'm also not a Mets fan too. I'm also a Mets fan too.
No, it's okay. I mean, I'm not into. Oh shoot, I moved the wrong thing. I'm not a sports fan, but my dad goes hard for the Mets, so I'm loyal to my father. What can I say?
Yeah, my father's a big Mets fan too. But I'm just saying that I'm both a Mets and Yankees fan because I've been brought up on both teams. So yeah. So yeah.
So you only went for a baseball game
Yeah.
besides
So, but going to your place for that music shoot, that was like the only time I've actually been in the Bronx that wasn't for like a baseball game. And it's weird because, when I was walking around that portion of Bronx, it felt like walking around Brooklyn because it felt very, very Brooklyn-esque, very not residential, but very like you're in a area like Park Slope where it's like you see like warehouses, you see like the highway in front of you, I felt like it's like, sooner or later I'm gonna be walking down the block of like say Park Slope somewhere. Like that's how it felt. That's how like Brooklyn it felt, even though the Bronx is literally a different area of the city. So
yeah.
so
That's gritty. I know what you mean, like a gritty kind of vibe. Like they probably shoot a scene from Gotham there.
yeah, and so it's odd how essentially a lot of these times, especially when you're an actor or just a singer in general, and you're like a starving singer or a starving actor in terms of saying, I want to do a lot of this stuff. I want to do, I want the exposure, but this place is in like the First Avenue and East 68th Street, and you would go and see, okay, what trains are running there, and it's an audition to do something like Hamlet or something like Hamlet. And this place is like maybe 20 minutes away from the actual train because you got to get off the train and then you got to walk down all these blocks around to where First Avenue is, and then so it like as the theater artists and theater artists and performing artists in general do suffer for their art because we're going to places that are like way out the comfort zone because you just mentioned that you were in a performance like that was probably not in the city because I know the performance you were talking about.
There.
Yeah, it's like the performance you were talking about was like out of state, I think, or maybe even upstate. So when it's so I do like the idea. It's like it's good that when you see people who are doing stuff that are way outstate and not way outstate, like way out of your comfort zone, that means they are really, really striving to be very good performing artists. Like, it's just. Of course, this might be my own little personal nitpick, but I really just like it when there is a audition or something to that effect where it's just like, okay, it's on a train line that I know I could easily take 1, 2, or just like one train, just like right there. So,
who doesn't convenience because it's already so much work to prepare for a audition or a performance. So why would you want to stress if you're going to be late or if you have to walk 20 blocks to get to the spot? Absolutely.
Yeah. But to conjure up what I was trying to say with the start, in terms of your own expertise, have you actually been to an audition for both singing and acting where it's like, okay, it's way out of my comfort zone, but I'll try and make it there. But in the end, you were just like, I really just don't want to go there because it's like, it doesn't feel like, hey, like even though I can make it, it doesn't feel like I could actually make it there on time. Or it's like I could probably make it, but I just don't want to go because the way the travel is.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. I've met a lot of, and they just happen to be maybe 20 years older than me, but I've met a lot of people in this industry, and they live in Connecticut, and they get up at 4 in the morning to drive to set or to an audition, to be here on time, to find parking, to prepare. You got to do what you got to do. If you're making an excuse for traveling to your audition, which is an opportunity for you to perform and for you to get a job and for you to meet people, even if they don't hire you, they'll know you.
Yeah.
If it's too much for you to travel 2 hours, then I don't think you really want to do it.
See, this is the way my show works sometimes, is that I would ask a question or comment about something, and it will really make you answer because, I have had people who have been stunned by my conversational skills. But yeah, in the end, that's all that matters is that, hey, you got to do what you got to do, but in the end, essentially, if you don't feel like this is the right thing for you, then you just don't apply. I mean, just don't audition for this role. Because
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but moving past auditions and stuff like that with theater, and because I feel like we haven't talked about much auditioning, so I want to know, how did you come up with the name Leaveascar in terms of your artistry name? Because I know you can easily just go as by, oh, my name is Rachel Navarro, I'm a singer, that's all. Did you really want? Did you create this name to really differentiate the fact that, like, if I'm Rachel Ball, then people will be like, oh, people see me as an actress, stuff like that, and I know you've done poetry too, and people will be like, oh, it's like maybe as a poetress, yeah, poetress, that sort of thing. So poet, there we go.
I like poetry. That's pretty. I like that.
Yeah, I think it's because Santrish was also in my mind too. So it was like I was kind of like mixing those two words together. So yeah. So did you create Leaveascar as a way to differentiate? Hey, Rachel Navarro might be the actress, and poet, while Leaveascar is much more of my more mature and emotional side.
So how I came up with it is beyond me, because first of all, I needed something, because when I first started music, I was presenting myself as Rachel Navarro. And when I would meet people and they'd be like, ooh, what's your artist name? I would be like, Rachel Navarro. And I could tell it went in one ear and out the other. I knew I needed something that represented my music and that also was different from the girl that everybody knows. Because my music is completely different from this conversation. I don't think you would hear my music and think, oh, she makes that kind of music.
Yeah.
I would write down, and I even asked people for help. Oh, what should my artist name be? And I got cool suggestions, and some names came to mind, and I got really excited. But then I looked them up on Spotify, and oh, there's already an artist. I don't want there's 3 other people with that. I didn't want it. I needed something completely unique. That was me. And one day in December, I was just folding laundry. I was folding laundry with Anthony, and I don't know what it was, but the sentence "Leaveascar" came into my head, and I was like, ooh. Like that's gonna leave a mark, like, oh no, that's gonna leave a scar. I thought that sounds really interesting. And then I thought, I have a lot of scars on my body just because I bruise like a banana, and I get marks really easily. Like I have this scar right here from a play that I did, and I liked the wholeness of it. Like it's part of me. I have scars all over my body. I have marks all over my body. And I think that music represents the same thing. Like it's going to leave an imprint on you no matter what, whether it's a good memory or a bad memory, just like a scar. And that was the idea for the name. And as I said, it's more separate from the girl you're talking to right now. I make like dance, electronic kind of hip hop music, and that's not me. Like it is me. Leaveascar is my higher self. She's my more confident self. She is more patient. She doesn't have. I could have a short fuse sometimes. So she's basically the ideal woman that I strive to be, and we will come and meet eventually. But right now, I'm still learning along the way. But when I'm her, when I'm performing as her, it feels cool to be a completely different person.
Have you actually considered something like other different like identities? Like I know David Bowie had like, I don't know, like several.
Yeah, Ziggy Stardust and all that. It's crazy that you say David Bowie, because I admire him so much, because he is so iconic, but he wasn't the best vocalist. He was just this incredibly interesting guy. And me personally, I'm not the best vocalist. That's why a lot of my music is more melodic right now. And I minimize my vocals because I don't want to say, oh, I'm a singer. And then I sing and it's...
You could say you do good with harmonizing or something like that. So it's like,
no, I mean I still train and practice, but I'm no Amy Winehouse. I know where my things are, and I admire David Bowie because he was a performer. He was an icon, and yeah, he had a good voice, but it wasn't a stunning voice. But his lyrics
it was a unique voice, to say the least.
unique. And I have a unique voice. And it used to be a voice that I wouldn't want to hear my voice memo, but then I hear it in my song and I'm like, that's a different voice. I have not heard that on the radio.
Yeah.
You know,
But yeah, I was bringing up Bowie because he had like different alter egos, like maybe 6 or 7 or so. Like Lady Gaga. Yeah, Lady Gaga has I think her male alter ego is called Joe. I might be wrong.
you remember when she rolled up? I love her because
Yeah.
like all the celebrities started dressing crazy because of her, and she just like strolled in as a dude while everyone had like things on their head that probably were her. I'm like,
this is like way old for me because this is something I grew up in the 90s. But Garth Brooks had a not necessarily country singer. It was a time when he wanted to do something that wasn't country singer, so he decided to do, I think, pop, and he created this whole gimmick, whole alter ego. I forgot what what it was called.
mm-hmm.
And it's out because he had like the most 90s like look ever. He had like soul pads, like his hair was like gelled out, that sort of thing. And of course everybody like everyone bar is like, oh yeah, that's just Garth Brooks. That's not, you know, his alter ego. That's what. So in terms of Leaveascar, do you see that notion having like different I want to say different personas, like different personas to combat like the type of themes that you're doing? Because I've listened to your music, even though I'm not really a big techno type of person, like I would still listen to lyrics and go, wow, this is really, really deep stuff, because, you know, it's like,
I appreciate that.
yeah, no problem. But yeah, do you consider having like Leaveascar like down the line having either, you know, multiple identities or just like multiple like alternative like ways of expressing yourself, like similar to where Lady Gaga or Tony Bennett? Well, yeah, similar to where Lady Gaga was working with Tony Bennett, but
absolutely, I do see myself having different personas where Leaveascar, you know, she's got dark brows, dark long hair. She has it up in the ponytail, or I have it straight down the middle. Like that's Leaveascar. She's very, you would find her like walking down the desert. You would find her cradling a snake. I mean, that's Leaveascar. She's into that weird stuff. She likes her distance, her isolation. But I have different stories in me. And I've learned when this name came to me that the names have to just come to me. So there is another name that has come to me. I would have it as an extension of Leaveascar. I would have all the other, you know, if I have more than one other personality, it would just be an extension of Leaveascar. Like I wouldn't make a separate, you know, channel and whatnot for them, because I'm already complicated enough. But yeah, so there is a name that came to me, which I really love, that I actually put in a script that I wrote, and her name is Elvina, and
interesting.
it that just means a female elf, and I've always loved, you know, Lord of the Rings, you know, cute pointy ears, and there's a more fairy-like side of me, a more, you know, elfish side of me. When something more nature-esque like comes out of me, that would be Elvina, and she's kind of just like a I guess a tree branch, you know, a branch under Leavis.
So yeah, that's actually a great point, because, you know, a lot of albums, especially, you know, rock stuff, that sort of thing, they always deal with, you know, different themes, that sort of things, especially if it's a concept album, like, you know, Tommy, like The Who's Tommy, or Pink Floyd's The Wall, or, you know, Dark Side of the Moon, that I'm wearing now. So do you see yourself actually writing a concept album where it's essentially like, oh, you know, track 1 tells a story, you know, about this character, and then track 10 essentially concludes the story and concludes his character's tale. Like, not, something like another concept that would be like R. Kelly's Trapped in a Closet. Chapters like 1 through 8 or something like that, he tells one story, and then chapters like 9 through 138, how many has he done later, he continues the story, that sort of thing. So concept-wise, have you thought of actually doing a concept album where it's just like, oh, you got to tell the story from the perception of one character, and then at the end of the album, the story concludes as does the character does?
Yeah, with the full story arc, as though I absolutely have, because I mean, to me, it's like a movie. To me, it's like the perfect marriage of me being a film fanatic and an actress and a filmmaker. If I could put that into music, if that could encapsulate all my experiences, I think that would be so fantastic. I definitely have concepts. I'm holding them here until I'm ready to share them. But thankfully, I've been able to explore a lot of different sounds. And when I really want to, put together, okay, this is chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3, they're absolutely inside of me right now. But that would be something that I would announce more publicly when it was fine, just because it's delicate right now. It's a newborn right now, and I got to pay attention to her before, I could take a nap while she plays.
Yeah, it takes a while to essentially adjust to these ideas and all this stuff. And it's weird because since quarantine has essentially been started for New York and practically since all practically everywhere, have you been more creative during this time than you were before, or were you just as creative?
No, honey, I've been way more creative. I've had so much free time, and the first month of quarantine I actually spent at the house I grew up in. Now I'm back here, at the studio. But even being there, not being in a studio, I was writing, I was practicing makeup and looks, I was watching movies and absorbing the performances. I was writing a lot of music. I was recording a lot of voice memos. And once I came back here in the beginning of April, bro, I was making beats. I made a lot of beats. They're not all gonna be released. They're not all good, but I've made some fire. I've had a lot of time to be really creative, and experimentation has been big. And everything I have out right now, I'm so proud of, and what's yet to be released, I'm very excited about too. So before quarantine, I was a little less disciplined just because it was more like if I get off work, I could either shower, get some food, watch a movie, go to sleep, or I could discipline myself to do the music, but I wasn't disciplining myself that much. And now that this once in a lifetime experience of us being isolated, of us not having a lot of responsibilities, to me, like there was no other choice but for me to create, because I'm entertained by making music. So I'm making music pretty much every single day. If I skip a day, I don't skip 2 days, and it feels really cool. And I know this time will never come back, but hopefully by the end of this year, I'm more established as a music artist, that it really is my job, that, I have to make a song because, they're expecting one next week. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be more of my life where it's like, okay, you have no choice but to go into the booth,
Yeah. Do you, and this is actually a good question to ask, in terms of studio space, how is it, like, do you And it's weird because I've only worked in a studio space in terms of like a sound studio, that sort of thing, when I had my sound class. And
Yeah.
we were kind of like going over like the sound etiquette, that sort of thing, of how to work with a sound engineer, that sort of thing, how to work with a microphone that's like you have the thing over here and then the microphone's like right here. Do you still see yourself like when you go into that studio every single time now, or before or after quarantine? Well, yeah, every time you go in the studio, do you still have the same nervousness that you do when you go up on stage, or is it just like there is another thing that's just been allowing me to actually be more and more, you know what, I gotta sing this thing, I gotta sing what I gotta sing. That's
Oh no, this is Planet Fitness, baby. This is the judgment-free zone. I don't get nervous. I don't worry about how I sound, whether I'm doing it or if Anthony is the producer. I mean, I have no choice but to go for it. And if I get a note, so what? I don't feel nervous. I feel free. I get to make sounds. I will say I'm still to myself. So if I'm not confident, if I'm not crazy about a beat, I will put my headphones on and not have it blasting around. That's before the mixing and everything when I'm just trying something out. I will have that more to myself, but hey, that's just the way I am. I've always been just more, I love spending time with myself. So I love working with myself. And then when I'm ready to get feedback, to get notes, I put it out there. But no, nervous? No, not here. No,
uh, I feel like I have not that much to ask, but you mentioned, because I feel like my questions are about almost tapped out, but you mentioned him twice now. Anthony, I know he is your fiance, right?
Oh, say yes, he is.
I'm just trying to figure out if that's the correct fiance, because when
Yeah,
you're, yeah, it's like there's fiance and there's fiance, but when you're American, when you're gonna be, when the woman is a fiance, it's like an extra e. So I was trying to figure
yeah.
out if this is the way.
But
I'm
you,
trying to figure. It's like I'm trying to figure out if it's the same pronunciation. I know it's like it's different wording, but anyway, he's your
yeah,
fiance. Uh,
funny. Yeah.
uh, how did you actually come? Okay, this is like a two-part question. How did you come in contact with Anthony? But also, how is it? But also, how is it also working with someone who is essentially not only the love of your life, but also he's also producing your music, that sort of thing. How is it actually working? How is it working with him as both? Hey, how you doing, my love? And also working him also professionally.
Yeah. And the first question was, how did we come
Yeah,
about?
yeah. How did you both meet?
Well, I wasn't in need of a studio because I was working with a producer who lives in India. And
Oh,
I was
okay.
going to fly out to India to record the song. And I hit up a couple of studios and they were hella expensive. And then I hit up an acquaintance. I would say friend, but the way they responded, they had their own home studio and they could have just said, no, I don't want you there. But they made excuses like, oh, we're getting, anyway, it doesn't matter. So that fell through and I was really counting on that. I was like, wow, of course this person's going to let me record. They didn't. And I saw on someone's Instagram story this AOA Studios, and I was like, oh my gosh, please be like a music studio because it could be a photo studio. And I saw it, and yeah, I slipped into his DMs. I had no idea where he was located. Turns out he was just a few train stops away. I came to the studio and I recorded, and we got along fabulously. But then again, Anthony gets along with everyone fabulously because he's
Yeah.
a but we got along, and yeah, so working with him at first, it was very, oh, I'm a newbie singer, and this guy has been producing for a couple of years. So I felt very much I have to absorb everything he says.
Yeah.
And I was still finding my own identity. I was still Rachel Navarro at the time. Leaveascar didn't exist. But the
Yeah.
dynamics since then has changed. Mostly, I will say mostly, I have more vocal independence, but like once I started making my own beats, it was like, this is my rodeo, like this is my world. And we have a collaborative, respectful dynamic. And it's to the point now where it's so casual that if I say, hey, I want to make music and he wants to do something else, no worries. But if I say, hey, I want your help with this, I need your feedback on this song, like, does this sound right with you, is this too distorted? He's great with that. But I've learned so much through him and through additional YouTube videos, which are very helpful,
Yeah.
that I'm mostly making music on my own. I still have him mix and master, but he's really helping me even with the mixing progress, and it feels great. The latest song, I haven't released it yet, but I sent out like a private link. That beat was the first beat I put out that was 100% me, and it's great. And he still makes his own music. He makes his own beats, and he goes on his own beats also to sing or rap. And he'll say, hey, which flow do you think is better? Or hey, can you help me write these lyrics? And
Yeah.
you know, help each other. It's very collaborative. And yeah, there's no point in it being personal, because we're personal every, all the other.
Practically, 24/7. We're already personal, but then we gotta have at least a couple hours where it goes. All right,
Yeah.
time to put on my professional suit on and that sort of thing.
There's no like, oh babe, that sounds great. It's like, no, Anthony, that sounds fire. Like we are in the music zone. It's what made us fall in love. It was that thing we first had in common. So
And it's like what you just said before when you enter the studio. It's like it's your Planet Fitness. There's no judgment.
And we've had other people in the studio with us also, and it's the same deal. It's the same dynamic. We're honest with each other. We're honest with them, and it's really cool.
I was about to actually end this until you actually mentioned it. You had to go to India to record this, or?
Oh, I was saying that he was located in India. He still is.
Okay.
He found me on Facebook. He saw that I was this artist that was transitioning to music, and it was perfect. Actually, no, that's not true. He didn't know I was going to music, and all my life I was too afraid to do music. And then this dude from India just messages me, "Hey, I'm a producer. You're an artist." And I guess he figured, since I said, "Oh, I do theater," that
Yeah.
musical theater, people usually assume that you could sing, act, and dance.
Yeah.
Because they assume, oh, theater, Broadway.
Yeah.
And it was perfect because I was secretly writing songs and I was taking classes, guitar classes. And then this opportunity presented itself for me to be like, okay, Rachel, just go for it. But he lives in India, and we would FaceTime. I would send him the music stems, the clips to the songs, and he would mix it in his studio. I never traveled over there to record. No.
Okay, I was just making sure. It was like you had to go to India. It was like, so yeah. But on that note, I think I'm already done with my questions in terms of just like not only just talking about your career, that sort of thing, but I think the fact that your music has essentially been able to go intercontinental between essentially from America, where, from New York City to essentially someplace in India, that's amazing considering, how music is just internationally.
Yeah.
I'm saying intercontinentally, and when the term is international.
No, I know.
Anyway.
I know. Yeah, it's fantastic.
But yeah, it's so. Yeah. That's actually a good point to make. Aside from India, do you have any other places where you kind of find out? It's like, oh wait, my song, like I'm doing good musically in places like freaking France, like.
Well, let me look up. I have gotten that feeling, and it's been amazing. I want to check because Spotify for artists, excuse me, is fantastic, that it will show you what country and what city
Like,
your listeners
like,
are.
yeah, because it's like, and I know this is something that works well with people who are artists right now, especially with Spotify, because Spotify, Spotify seems to be like the more uh, platform to use, especially as an artist, aside from SoundCloud. And SoundCloud, even though SoundCloud is free and easy, I think it's free and easy to use, but
Different. SoundCloud is a totally more kind of casual feel. I would say Spotify is fantastic, but then Apple Music also is very popular. And then
but
there are services. But yeah, you said about other countries. Yeah, it
yeah,
feels cool. I'm very grateful. I have admirers in India. So if I post something, they watch it or they listen to it, and that's cool. But I want it more to be more than just, I think she's attractive. Let me listen to her music. Like, I actually have 2 loyal listeners in India. That is the coolest thing in the world. And there's been other countries as well. And in my head, I'm like, I don't know how they stumbled upon Leaveascar, but I'm very happy that they did.
and I think on that note, that ends my round of questioning because I think I'm creatively tapped out. But I do have 3 more questions out. That it's quite easy to know.
Okay,
Uh,
I'll keep it short. Let's do a speed round.
okay. Essentially, my first question is, uh, even though quarantine and phase 4 is slowly reopening New York City as of the time of this recording, I'm not sure by the time I release this, New York City will probably be back to normal-ish. But do we see anything what type of products do you have in the foreseeable future outside of music?
I'm filming a music video this Wednesday for my latest single, Blow Me a Wish.
And aside from that, theater-wise, or are you just taking a break from theater, or is it just like?
I actually just connected with the theater company. I'm doing a reading for them tomorrow.
Nice. Okay. Nice. And again, the thing about theater and music, it's. I will say this: theater is a small world, but music, it's like music and theater just interlink and interconnect so better than they ever think. So, but yeah, my second question is: do you have any advice to those who are watching or listening?
Yes. Whether you're an actor, a singer, a writer, don't ever let your creativity die. Always work on what it is you ultimately want. Ask yourself what you ultimately want and why. And write down some goals and work on it. And nothing is ridiculous. I don't care if your mom, dad, husband, boyfriend, exes, people in school, people that apparently are your best friends, if they're saying you can't do it, that's because they don't think they could do it, but you can do it. Don't ever let your passions be buried. And it's okay if it takes a while. I've been doing this my whole life, and there's still so much I want to achieve. And you could absolutely achieve anything you set your mind to. So best of luck, or should I say, break a leg.
All right, and the last question is fairly obvious. Do you have any social media? Do you want to plug Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, MySpace, Friendster?
Sure, thanks. Yes, I'm on Instagram. It's Leaveascar, but it's Leaveascar with 2 R's at the end. So it's Leaveascarr. And then my Twitter is Leaveascar with 3 R's. And then my Facebook is /Facebook/Leaveascar. I believe that is with 2 R's. And what other social media is there? Oh, I'm
Yeah.
on TikTok, Leaveascar, but that's the only one that is pure, Leavescar. So, or honestly, hopefully, if you Google me, you'll find me.
Yeah, it's fairly easy to
Yeah,
find
I
you.
have
Just
a
like
website. Yeah, so it's leavescar.info if you want to see more of my work. I'm on YouTube. And yes, please, let's make art together, or let's just be friends, because I like having friends.
And on that note, Rachel Leaveascar, thank you for being on the show. Thank you for watching episode 9 of season 2 of Performing Arts. My name, as always, is Brian M. Davis. Take care, be safe, and wear your damn mask.
Non-stop, no intermission. Shut up, listen.
Need a magic lamp, one with a genie that could get me what I want.